were not going to be put in a box, and that she was going to be able to ebb and flow and become something else. And, so because that's been really interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think that just happened gradually. It was an evolution. It's still an evolution. I don't think a lot of us knew exactly what direction the characters were going right off the bat, but I knew from the pilot episode, just because I made some choices for the character, that she did lose a love. And when I spoke to Adam and Eddie about it, they said, "How did you know that?" And I said, "What do you mean?" That was just my choice as an actor, just to give to the character. And they said, "That's where we're going. She did lose a love." And I kind of instinctively knew this. And I guess I was meant to play her. Like I said, everything happens for a reason. So I was meant to play her.
So given that happened in season 1, have they included you, the showrunners? Do you have conversations with the writers, or because you own the character now? I don't know. It's different in every show.
Well, it's shared.
Okay.
I don't. It's shared with the writers. It's
so
a
how much
collaboration.
conversation or talks is there where she's going to go and get a little bit of input or not? Or?
Sometimes, I think, especially right now, because of where she's going. And there's two Reginas. I know.
She's going. Yeah.
Who's excited to have two? It's like the best of both worlds, right? The hero lives and the evil queen lives.
You have to see it. Anyway, so I'm going to ask one more question and then start getting in line, okay, guys? Then I open it up to you. So I've been instructed on Twitter, because I know you're active on social media,
Yes.
to ask you about favorite scenes with Henry, if you can pick one or something in your storyline that sort of sticks out.
Yes. My favorite scene with Henry is in the second season. I think it's either the first or maybe the second or third episode, maybe the first. In the first 3 episodes, where she's standing, they're talking on the staircase in her house, and David comes by, and she tells Henry to go and stay with him, to go live with. That scene, that's when I realized that this woman was not so selfish, that she was really conflicted and was still growing and learning, but she knew that she had to send her son away in order for him to be safe so she can work on herself. And that, to me, was a very courageous decision for her to make.
Do you think that the fact that she's not one-dimensional and there's that is what makes her, has this sort of, response from the audience? Do you think that if she would have been just a one-dimensional sort of evil queen and stayed there, then, maybe this wouldn't happen?
I think I would be bored, and I think a lot of people would be bored, yeah.
You suffer if you would.
Yeah. You can't just play evil. It doesn't work. It's fun maybe for a movie, It's good for a movie, you can see it in 2 hours, but on television, there's no end to telling these stories unless the show gets canceled. So I had to really, stretch it out and make her multidimensional, really layered and very complex, not only for myself, but for the audience. It makes her much more interesting to watch.
Oh, I promise. So, first question from the audience, please.
I love you too.
We're right here.
Before I make my question, I wanted you to know that you didn't inspire me just emotionally, you inspired me to walk.
Really? That's incredible! The woman who just said this is in a wheelchair, and she just said, "You inspired me to walk." That is a blessing. Thank you so much.
My question is, you taught us that anyone can get a happy ending, but seriously, the season finale, they killed us Robin Hood. Why?
I asked the same question. Why?
Because of Emma! Yes! For Queen!
Yes.
Were you shocked when you read this?
We were told a little bit in advance because they didn't want everyone to be shocked when we read the script. Out of respect for Sean and a respect for our characters and other actors, we were warned. I was shocked, but I also have a lot of faith and respect in my writers, the creators of the show, and I always know that they write these stories for a reason, and it's to push other characters forward. And that's what we're going to see with Regina.
Next question.
So I wanted to know which side of Regina do you enjoy playing the most? Regina as a hero or as the evil queen?
I think both, and that's what we're going to see in season 6.
It's a little bit difficult, sort of, given how the pace of television is shot. You're not going to be, your head's not going to be spinning, or where am I now?
No, I think my head's going to be spinning. I think it's going to be challenging, but yeah, I always liked, and this is something no one really knows, but when we do flashbacks, especially in the first couple seasons, I would split the script in half, and I would combine all the storybook stories together, that whole arc, and then I would combine the fairy tale arc. So I kept them separate and found ways to kind of combine them, but keeping them separate was how I like to go about it. Next season, I have no idea what to expect.
Next question.
Hello,
Hi.
Parrilla.
Thank you.
I wrote down my question in case I forgot. You mentioned that after you watched the pilot, you realized the show was going to be big. But did you think that the evil queen and the villains were going to be more popular than the heroes?
I have no idea. Although I will say, I've always been a fan of Robert Carlyle's. So I knew that he was going to be very popular. I have no idea Regina was going to be this popular.
Hi, Lana.
Hi.
I just wanted to know, how do you feel about Regina not being given the opportunity to say goodbye to Roland?
I felt really sad about that. I'm hoping that maybe she'll travel to wherever he is. Robin and their relationship. I hope that they can have that moment of closure.
Next question, please. It's a long line.
So my question is, we kind of know how Regina felt about Robin's death, but how would the evil queen feel about Robin's death?
I think she's going to be really pissed off. Hasn't had a lot of love in her life, and if you go back and watch a lot of the episodes, go back, which I do because I like to see the evolution. She always talks about family. If you remember from the Hansel and Gretel episode, she was trying to convince them to stay because she really wanted that. So I think she's going to I think she's probably going to go after the Charmings. She's going to blame Emma. She's going to blame maybe Zelina. So I have a feeling she's going to just wreck everyone's life. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Hi, Lana. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'd like to know, what are the challenges of playing all these sides of Regina?
So it's very complicated. I've always wanted to be a character actress. I never wanted to be a leading lady. I thought it was like, ugh, boring. So for me, whether it was the writers or me or a combination, I always challenge myself to find more depth and colors within the character. And that's part of my joy and fun. I love doing that for the character. And so playing the old hag, I convinced them. They were going to hire a real old lady. And I said, no. Absolutely. But please let me play her because it's the same character. They said, but Lana, you're not, 85 years old. I said, but let's try to make me look 85 years old. And so they had a meeting about it, and the next day they called me and they said, you better knock it out of the park. And I said, okay, I will. And I had 3 days to create a character, and I gave her this Romanian gypsy accent, and this body, and I love that stuff. So it's challenging, but in a good way, not in a bad way. I don't find it threatening, I find it exciting.
I love your character. Okay, what Lana and Regina have in common?
Could you step a little closer to the mic?
What Regina and Lana have in common?
What do we have in common?
Yeah.
Probably say our hearts. Although mine's a little more red than hers. I think, before she became the evil queen, she loved fiercely. I love fiercely. I have a big heart, and I'm a family person, so it's the Boricua in me.
Is there any? It's interesting to hear that you watch all episodes. Since actors don't usually like to watch themselves. Is there any other story in your show that you're invested as much as they are? That's not necessarily Regina.
Oh, that's not Regina? Yeah.
Which one?
Gosh. I do love Snow and Charming's love. I think it's really beautiful. And it's real. And I think that's very unique. And I think it's very unique. When to find love the way they found love is very unique. And I admire that. I also love Rumpel and Belle. Anyone that can love that man, it's like, she deserves all the awards. So I like their relationship.
Thank you. Next question.
Lana, first I want to thank you for making my dog Twitter famous. I had my producer this dog yesterday.
Oh, yes!
So thank you for making your Twitter famous. And my question was actually, at what point did the evil queen have her heart put back into her? Because I found it really interesting, because in her fight with Zelina, Regina said that she knew that she wouldn't have, not to have her heart in. And at what point did the evil queen have her heart put back into her? And how did that opportunity?
You know what? We never wrote that, and so we never saw it. But I'm assuming it probably happened somewhere behind with Robin. Yeah, I would assume that they were together when that happened, and maybe somewhere behind closed doors, over candlelight and wine.
Maybe we'll see it.
Make it romantic, you may as well.
Próxima pregunta.
Hi, Lana. First, I want to thank you for playing such an amazing character with so much depth. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And my question is, now that heartbreakingly we lost Robin, and now that you're split into two, what do you believe or what do you picture is going to be the happy ending for, the light Regina versus the evil queen? What do you imagine will be their happy ending separately?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. I think Regina, the hero, still has a bit of her happy ending. And it's not, because I think her happy ending doesn't necessarily have to lie within a partner. I think that it really comes from within, and she said that. She said, my happy ending is finally feeling at peace in the world. And I think she is there to some degree. I think she's also really pissed off. She feels like everything bad happens to her. She doesn't understand why. But she has her family, and she has her son, and she has these friends, and the Charmings, and these people have become her family. She has Lana. So I feel like the hero, Regina, still encompasses a happy ending. I think the evil queen has a long journey ahead of her. And I'm really excited to see where she ends up. I don't know yet, but I hope that she does get some kind of redemption or some kind of happy ending.
I know it's going to be more work for you, but do you hope that the storyline goes for more than one season?
You mean one past this one?
Yeah.
We hope so. We have no idea, but that'd be great.
Cool. Next question.
Hi, my name is Rocio, and I love you so much. And I just wanted to say that, what's your biggest fear? Just being you, not
I'm finding hair in my food, okay? I don't like that. I would say I think loneliness is something to be not so much afraid of, but it's kind of a scary thing. And I don't mean like being alone. I think being alone and doing stuff alone is really great. But being lonely in life and not having people that you love or being loved, I think that can be a really scary existence. I'm not gonna feel lonely, but thank you. But I think that's being lonely, dying by yourself. It's scary.
Let's move right along.
Something happy. Yeah.
Thank you. Próxima pregunta.
Hi. My question is if there's another character in the show or another TV or movie that you wish you could someday play?
And another character, if I could play a different character, who would it be?
Yeah, or in the show or another movie.
Let me see. I said recently I would love to play Catwoman. I think I would make a really sexy Catwoman.
What has been your favorite Catwoman?
Michelle Pfeiffer, hands down. She's so beautiful.
All right, next question, please.
Hi, Lana. In what moment in your life do you decide to be an actor? Do you have any struggles, and who made you keep going, or what?
So I kind of grew up in a very artistic household with my mom as a painter, my aunt's an actress. My grandfather used to make these old 8mm films of the family. So I kind of grew up in it. And I used to do like commercials and stuff as a kid, not really, but like at home, eating the cereal and, doing cute things for my mom. And so I think I always wanted to be an actress since I was really young. I started to pursue it later in my life, more as a teenager, like 16 is when I started to really study. And learning the craft was something that was really important to me and advised by my aunt, who's a successful actress in the industry. She said, you have to learn your craft. I've had a lot of actors ask me to give some advice, so I'm giving some advice. It's really important to learn your craft, to not just go out there in the industry to be famous. You have to do it because you love it and you can't live without it. And there's nothing else you want to do. And when you look at life that way, you want to give it 1,000%. And that's how I see the work. I want to give Regina 1,000% of me. I want to give the next. And so doing the work, learning your craft, I highly recommend it. Study, do theater, and give yourself time. People say, oh, I was in LA for a year, I'm done. You gotta give yourself 25 years. Because it's not just a job, it's a career. So look at it as, it's longevity, it's a career, not just being in one television show, doing one movie. Build it and nurture it. And that's my advice. I could do this on I could talk about acting for hours.
You could give a master class.
I know. I've actually done a couple of things like that, so it's, and I love it.
Próxima pregunta.
Next week, acting classes with Lana Parrilla.
I think your character is basically the whole show, so shout out to that. And my question is, how much time does it take to produce those fabulous costumes, evil green pieces? And how is the scenes where you bring out the hard film with green screen, with dogs?
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate on you how we do that. I would say, to answer your questions about the costumes, it takes, Eduardo's like amazing. To put the costumes on, it depends. It's anywhere from like 30 minutes to put them on. Because there's a lot of tightening and the corsets. I was like, I can't eat. I can only drink liquids that day. I once made the mistake and ate a cheeseburger as the evil queen. I was like burping burger all day.
There's a picture of that.
Oh, it was terrible. But okay, there is a picture of it. That was that day. But to do the hair and makeup and the costumes and everything, it's about 3 hours in total. So now, okay.
Oh boy.
So I hope I don't get in trouble because I don't want to ruin the magic for you, but I'll keep it simple. You can stand up for me. So what you see, and you're going to face me. So what you see on the show is this, right? But what sometimes we do is this. And then someone runs in and gives me a heart. We freeze, they give me the heart, and I pull it out. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes we just do this, we freeze. Someone comes in, they put the heart in my hand, and I hold it here, and I pull it out. So, I mean, if I could really rip into someone's chest, I would.
We're not going to do that now.
But there would be a lot of dead people. To preserve lives, we fake it.
We appreciate it. Próxima pregunta.
Hi, sweetheart.